Alaikum and welcome back to our platform aaci.pk. Here we are going to discuss poem Reproductions by Daud Kamal. First of all, we see our writer Daud Kamal's introduction. Daud Kamal was a Pakistani mystic poet who wrote most of his work in the English language. His poetry was influenced by modernist English language poets like Esther Pound, W. B. Yeats, and T. S. Eliot. He is one of the most accomplished poets of Pakistan. His poetry conveys a sense of loss and spiritual displacement in the face of violence and cultural erasure. He has won 3 gold medals and 2 certificates of recognition in the International Poetry Competition in US. His poetry is saved in Library of Congress, Washington, D.C., USA. His most famous works are Reverberations, that is a translation of classical Urdu poet Ghalib. Recognitions, also a collection of his original poems in English. Anthology, A Remote Beginning, that is also a collection of poems. Before reading the text, there are some pictures that will help you for better and clear understanding of the present poem, Reproductions. फर्स्ट पिक्चर और फर्स्ट इमेज जो है ये प्रिंस सिद्धार्थ जो है राइटर ने जो पोइम में बताए हैं उनकी है। नेक्स्ट जो सेकंड वाली पोइम है ये मुग़ल मिनिएचर्स की है और रूलर्स जो थे उस टाइम के उनकी है। एंड नेक्स्ट जो थर्ड वाली पिक्चर है ये स्कल्पचर्स जो थे उस टाइम के उनकी पिक्चर दिखाई गई है जो शो कर रहे हैं इम्पोर्टेंस ऑफ कल्चर को, इम्पोर्टेंस ऑफ ट्रेडिशन को एंड इम्पोर्टेंस ऑफ सिविलाइजेशन को। Now we talk about our poem Reproduction. Reproduction is a simple nostalgic poem. Writer has employed impressionistic technique in this poem. Throughout the poem we see preservance of history, preservance of culture and preservance of civilization in this poem. We see the very title Reproduction of this poem is very significant through history and culture. Now we read text of the poem. Reproductions of Mughal miniatures cut out from last year's calendar and fragments of Gandhara sculpture bowed for a song. Prince Siddhartha gone into the night with Channa and old Tajiks in their tents drinking China tea. Poem starts with the poet observing the Mughal miniatures and Gandhara sculptures. These miniatures were cut out from last year's calendar and were implied last year along with the Gandhara sculptures. The poet further explains that these pieces of cultural heritage were only bought and placed for making a song. One can interpret that the poet criticizes the system in which these pieces of cultural heritage are only bought and displayed by the people to make songs. The word reproduction in this poem might be soul of the universe, that's nature, and it can be a soul of the writer also. Poet wants to create paintings in this poem because painting or art saves our culture. Image of Mughal miniature depicts class distinction, rulers' victory, battles and lifestyle of the people of past years. It shows that he wants to reproduce things at this place. Writer दाऊद कमाल यहाँ पे अपनी सेंसिटिविटी टुवर्ड्स चेंजिंग वर्ल्ड शो कर रहे हैं. मुगल मिनिएचर also symbolize rulers of subcontinent, rather attached to this very theme of depicting poverty, miserable condition of poor people. It might be victories of Humayun, victory of Akbar, and victories of Shah Jahan also. Here second image is of real Gandhara sculptures that's in northern Pakistan and eastern Afghanistan. Gandhara sculpture शो कर रहे हैं ग्रीक गॉड को, हिस्ट्री ऑफ बुद्धा और डिवाइन स्टेटस. It is the image used centuries back in Harappa, which shows complete civilization and complete culture of that time. Next image is bought for a song. It may be for making a song. This verses of the poem has two interpretations. One is that poet buys art by sing a song, and second is that he is collecting these images for his aesthetic sense and want to say something regarding grandeur and glory of all past civilization. Next we see image of Prince Siddhartha show a story or history about the founder of Buddhism. Once he visited outside from the palace, he observed bitter reality of life, pain and death. He went with his Jana, royal servant, and on his way they saw old Tajiks were drinking China tea. Maybe they themselves drinking China tea on his way. Here China tea refers to China traditions. Poet has also used different images from calendar in order to preserve different eras of history. Prince Siddhartha visited outside because he wanted to accomplish the goal of his life. There we see a ray of hope, and we see that a true soul or a true man, like martyrs, never dies. They will return or reproduce in another form or a different form. Next, almond blossoms fall and a crow carved out of ebony pushes itself through the rain. I sit scraping the rust of my ancient coins. Here writer use image of almond blossoms. Almond blossoms fall. राइटर ऑब्जर्व कर रहा है इमेज ऑफ आलमंड ब्लॉसम जो कि फॉल हो चुके हैं. यहाँ पर आलमंड ब्लॉसम मीन blossoms that are not fully ripe now. This image shows two senses. It might be an image of where there is sense of almond blossoms, and these might be almond trees which are in blooming position that writer is observing. Here writer wants to convey message that sometimes nature is very cruel towards poor people. Poor people, all eras of life के जितने भी poor peoples हैं जिन पे